Okay, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fortnite Mythbusters. We are currently on episode 81. Man, that's a lot of episodes. But in today's episode, I have a whole ton of awesome myths in store for you guys. So just like always, if you do have a myth you would like me to test out in the next or future episodes, make sure to go down in the comment section down below and drop a comment of that myth for a pretty good chance to be featured. Also, at any moment, if you do enjoy today's video, feel free to consider leaving a like. Let's see if we could smash 10,000 likes on today's episode. That would be unreal. Also, if you would like to see more episodes of the Fortnite Mythbusters by me, feel free to subscribe and also turn on those post notifications to never miss another video. Anyways, guys, without further ado, let's get right on in to today's episode. Jumping straight into the first myth is, can you reboot someone while you are carrying your other teammate? When I tried this out, I had my friend get knocked, and then of course I had my other account fully die. That way I could pick up its reboot card and go reboot him in a regular match. And the funny thing is when you are actually trying to reboot your teammate while carrying the other one over your shoulder, you kind of pull the teammates over your shoulder's arm to help reboot it for some reason. Instead of just your player holding their arm out as kind of like towards the reboot van to reboot them, it shows both your arm and even your teammate's arm being stuck out to the reboot van, which is kind of weird. But overall, yes, you could actually reboot your teammate while you're carrying your other teammate over your shoulder. Just the one that you're carrying doesn't get fully healed. I really didn't expect that anyways, but I saw a lot of conversation in the replies to this comment. Jumping straight into the next myth is, what happens when you drive a boat into Steam Stack's pressure plant? Now, up at Steamy Stacks, or whatever this place is called, if you don't really land there, I personally don't myself, whenever you go into these massive pressure plant things, it actually has a lot of wind pushing straight up into the air, and this is really actually the only way you could redeploy your glider in Fortnite Chapter 2. There's no launch pads or anything. This is the only way if you want to pull out your glider mid-game. With that being said, when I drove the boat into the middle of the pressure plant, at first it would not launch the boat up into the air. I got out of the boat and it was very difficult to get back in it, but as soon as I got back in it, it automatically started floating up, and you could actually jump from one pressure plant all the way to the other, which is a lot of fun. Honestly though, I really don't see a point of doing this in a regular match, because if you do really need to rotate, you could just ditch the boat. There's plenty of other spawns along the way all throughout the entire map. You really don't need a boat this bad. Jumping straight into the next myth is, what happens when you hide in a garbage can or even a hay bale while you're carrying someone? Now, I'm gonna be honest here, these hay bales as well as these garbage cans, they really don't get a lot of use in game. I mean, I think I've only seen a player go into them once and they immediately jumped out. So honestly, I don't really see much use to this myth, but when I did try it out, you really aren't able to carry a teammate into the garbage can or even the hay bale. It doesn't even show the option for you to jump in there. And if you do want to try the trick with the garbage can, if you jump from like your roof onto the top and it immediately puts you in there, that will not work as well. It'll just act as a regular surface, as if you're just standing there regularly. I guess I really don't see a point to this anyways. If you are carrying your own teammate, they're most likely losing a lot of health, and you need to revive them ASAP. So if you're gonna take the time to hide in the trash can, may as well just box up, put them down, and revive them instead. Going into another myth that revolves around carrying your own teammate. This myth is, if you're carrying someone in Slurpy Swamp, will they be healed while being carried? Slurpy Swamp is probably one of the best places you want to get knocked at in game, because if you get knocked anywhere within those waters, you will continue to heal a little bit, and I would say it gives you a solid 20-30 seconds more of downtime rather than just being out in the open and losing health. When you are knocked and your teammate is carrying you through the swamp, you will actually slowly regain HP, just as if you were knocked crawling around or even swimming around the swamp. So this is good to know in a regular match, just in case you need to buy yourself a couple more seconds worth of time and finish off that fight. You could always toss your teammate into like the waterfall or even just somewhere hidden in the water, and they'll gain a little bit more HP, but I guess it's better than nothing. Jumping straight into the next myth is, will the mythical goldfish float in the water like a grenade or even a boogie bomb, or will it sink? A couple episodes ago, we actually tested out to see what happens when you throw a boogie bomb or even a grenade in the water, and in Fortnite Chapter 2, instead of it immediately sinking down to the bottom like how it did in Fortnite Chapter 1, this time it'll actually continue to float and it'll go with the current. So it'll eventually float to, I guess, down the river or even to the coast. With the mythical goldfish being so rare in game, no one has really tested this out, so I had to try it out for you guys. And surprisingly, the mythical goldfish, it makes immediately contact with the water. It will not continue to float anywhere, and right when it does hit the water, it'll show the item floating up at the top like any other normal item. This is strange because as a projectile, you would expect it to behave similarly to the grenades or even the boogie bomb, but this time it won't even float at all. I mean, it'll just float up at the top of the water, ready for it to be picked up, I guess. Going into the next myth, the next myth is, will the chill trap or even ice affect a player who is being carried or even knocked? In Fortnite Chapter 1, there was always the chill traps as well as the ice above Greasy Grove, and whenever you are knocked on that ice or run around on it, you will slide around like crazy. So in Fortnite Chapter 2, did they change these physics? Or even if you go over a chill trap while carrying a teammate over your shoulder, will it show the ice cubes on their feet, or will they have no effect? I tried this myth out, and surprisingly, the player who is being thrown over your shoulder, they get no effect at all. Even if you drop them on the regular ice or the chill trap, they won't be sliding around at all. Only way you could get affected by these is if you're fully standing up and running around. Going into the next myth, and a highly requested myth, this myth is, will the first match for Season 1, if you get a victory, will that count towards your stats? Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 1, if you don't remember, when you first launched up the game, it immediately dropped you into a match. You didn't even have the option to go to the main menu or buy the battle pass, and with it being so late into Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 1, every single player in that lobby, it's somehow a full lobby of 100 players, which means every single player in that lobby is a bot. On the Fortnite Stat Tracker's website, it tracks stats, obviously. Will it count for a win on here? If you get a win fully up against bots, which is a extremely easy win. Wait, if you see the gameplay in the background, it's ridiculous how body these players are. At the beginning of this season, I had one win on this account. I honestly don't remember what that was from, but then I played through with the entire game and got myself another win, and it still showed only one win. If I scroll down to the recent matches, it'll also show that I got a victory, but it didn't count towards my overall wins. What's strange though is that this victory that I got fully up against bots, one of the easiest wins of my life, it actually gave me the Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 1 victory umbrella, which you get for winning a game. So I guess it kind of counts, it kind of doesn't. Overall, kind of weird. Jumping into the next myth, the next myth is, what happens when you change your username to a bot's username while you're in the middle of a game with them? Funny enough, I actually did this myth the exact same game that I did the previous myth, so I already knew the whole lobby was full of bots, and I was able to verify this by going to report players and trying to search up each username stats. And no matter what, no matter how many people I try to search, it would never show any stats, which obviously means that the account's not legitimate. I chose a couple of these usernames and tried to turn my username into theirs, and it said, sorry, but this account contains disallowed words, which is kind of weird. I mean, I don't really think the word wow or hippos is disallowed in Fortnite. It's kind of weird. I swear I tried to do this with literally every single username in the entire lobby, and every single one it showed the exact same thing. So I highly doubt the word hippos or wow is disallowed. I tried to do similar words just without the numbers at the very end, and it showed that the usernames were taken, which is pretty strange. I guess if you really do think about it, you can learn every single, I guess, bot username in the game and somehow remember them, or even add up an entire list. Then when you get into a public match, maybe late at night, you can go to report a player and see how many players in the lobbies are actually bots. That might be kind of cool, I don't know. Going into the last and final myth, this myth is, what happens when you're hiding in a hay bale or even a garbage can and a boombox is thrown near you? Will it destroy it? Will it do any damage to you? Or what will happen? Now, yes, I know boogie bombs are no longer in the game, so this doesn't really matter too much, but when I tried this out, it actually destroyed the entire hay bale, as well as the garbage can and every single structure that was built near you. Kind of like how I guess a boombox works. So I guess if boomboxes ever do get added back into the game, you might want to be a little bit more cautious when you are hiding in a hay bale or even a garbage can. Anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for today's video. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe to the channel. If you are new, make sure to go down in the comments and drop a comment of a myth for a pretty good chance to be featured. As well, if you would like me to directly see your myth, feel free to send it to me over on Twitter at @itsNexiph, and I will see you guys next time.